We got it next. That's how you finesse. We come for they next. We come to collect. Did it all on my own, yeah. When it brought it back home, yeah.
Como é que é, malta? Sejam bem-vindos ao primeiro episódio do Traveling Hoopers. Claro que vocês já estão aqui a ver a minha primeira convidada. Para mim, uma das melhores esportes que tenha aparecido agora, apesar de não o ser, obviamente, e vamos falar sobre isso nesse episódio. Estamos aqui presentes com a Summer Pahl. Summer, if you would like to introduce yourself for the people that might not know you, which I think they are dumb to not know you, but for some people that might not know you, do you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So, hi, my name is Summer Pahl. I'm from Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. This is my first year playing overseas in Portugal. I play for GDR AR. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you right now.
So I would like to start like with the basic questions. How were you like as a little Summer Pahl? Like the little you. If you were like like a shy kid, or if you were like a big like smiley kid, like used to talk about with everyone, and your parents would be like, "Summer, don't talk with like how were you as like a little kid?
So I grew up in a big family. I have 3 younger siblings, and we're all, like, really close in age, so I kinda grew up, like, playing, like, mini mom to my siblings, so, um, just kind of, like I was always pretty loud and, like, low-key, like, center of attention-ish, but, my sister also is, like, a very, very big personality, so her and I growing up together, we're very different, but also both very loud, so, yeah, it was just kinda like one of those things, and, I grew up a dancer, like, for, like, 10 years, like, the first 10 years of my life, I was, like, a fully competitive dancer with my sister, um, where she was, like became way more bold and loud in that atmosphere, and I definitely, like, became more quiet until I found basketball, and that's where, like, I really excelled and, like, found my own personality and my whole, like, who I am is really down to, like, that switch from dance to basketball, which sounds crazy, but it made, like, a really, really big difference on my life.
So like I imagine your mom used to freak out in the house, like with you and your sister probably. And
Yeah.
that was one of my questions, because you everywhere you go, I think you always talk about growing up in a big family, and you always talk about that you started like with dancing. You didn't start with basketball. When and how did it start, like your basketball journey? Do you remember that? Do you have like a specific memory of when did it start?
Yeah, so I remember being, like, super tall, like, super young. I'm not, like, super tall now, but, like, I grew, like, really quickly.
Girl, I get you.
Yeah. I grew really quickly when I was younger, so, like, grade, like, 6 or 7, I was, like, way taller than people my age, and, the elementary school basketball coaches, like, came and saw me on, like, the play yard and was like, "Oh, you wanna play basketball?" And I was like, no," and I'm, like, running around in my, like, bedazzled, like, dance jacket and stuff, like, never touched a basketball in my life, was not very, like, sporty that way. I had literally only ever, like, done dance, and that, like, dance gymnastics, like, that kind of a thing, so I was like, "No, thank you." And then my 2 friends were doing it, so then I was like, "Oh, okay, no, I wanna do it now too." And then literally ever since then, I played on my elementary school team and I was, like, really bad, but I wanted to, like, keep playing because my friends were doing it. They played at, like, the rep level, which is, like, outside of school basketball, like, that's what we call it back home, it's, like, rep, where you, like, travel and stuff and you play within your city. And, yeah, so started doing that and dance, and then my dance teacher was like, "Yeah, you need to pick, you can't do both." So I was like and I chose basketball, so yeah, like, quick little
I feel like dance teachers are always like that. I had like a couple of players that I used to teach that did ballet,
yeah,
and most of their teachers would be like, "You can't do basketball because you won't like stretch enough and stuff like that, and you get tense and stuff like that." So they are really strict about if you do dance, you can only do dance.
yeah.
But you said like you start playing because of your friends, but how did the passion for basketball grew up? How did it? How was it?
It grew because, like, I felt like I finally found my place. like, in dance, like, I kinda stuck out like a sore thumb being as tall as I was, like, genuinely, like, I was in the back of every number because of, like, I was always the tallest, so I had you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
even when I danced, like, in higher age groups, I was still taller than everybody, but with basketball, like, I was able to, like, find myself, like, I could be, like, a little clumsy and, like, goofy and, like, do the things that I wanted to do and, like, grow within, like, that aspect of sport that I didn't even know was, like, there for me. Yeah, and I, like, honestly, I attribute to, like, my whole personality and, like, everything that I've become, like, to that switch, because I don't know who I would be if I didn't switch to basketball. Like, I feel like I would be a completely different person, honestly. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. I think it's like probably because like you said, you were so loud as a little kid and I feel it, girl. I was the same. I was super loud and I was super like I would my mom used to yell at me like
yeah.
just stop like talking with everyone and be loud and stuff like that. I love to be the center of attention, and I think with basketball it also gave me a place. So I get what you come from and what that means to you. And you talked about your sister being a dancer too,
Mhm.
and that was one of my other questions that I had for you. Like, did anyone on your family played any type of sports, or just your sister?
So, no one else played basketball really. My sister was a dancer all the way through, she also modeled, and then my brothers played football growing up. So my brothers had, like, their little sports, their time together with my dad, and then me and my mom, and my sister kinda did that dance thing until I switched to basketball, and then my dad kinda, like, took over, like, travel trips and stuff, because my mom couldn't, like, have my dad go to dance, like, that doesn't really work, so
Yeah.
um, like, having that big family, like, is, like, really important to me because we all were kinda, like, at each other's things all the time. We would go to football, they would come to dance and basketball, so, that's why I always, like, bring it up 'cause it is just, like, really important, and it was, like, a big aspect of me just growing up, like, that's all I know is, like, all 6 of us would do things together for the most part as long as we could, so
So like you grew up, then you grew up as literally a basketball kid, like
yeah,
with the travelings and the 5 a.m. waking up, going to the gym to play like little tournaments. Like I know that feeling, and I know that like you have to have like a big family to actually support that. So props to your family for that, because most of the times people like might not recognize it, but when your parents do everything for you in that expect, especially in basketball, it helps you grow up
it's a big
in basketball.
sacrifice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it helps you a lot, a lot.
exactly.
So like we talked a little bit about you as a kid, and then you go to high school in St. Mary's,
Mhm.
of course. And I have a few things here. I don't know if I'm going to say them right or if they are actually all correct.
Okay.
But you had your team to a runner-up finish in District 8 in 2015.
Yeah.
You were a four-time District 8 first team All-Star honoree, a three times MVP, and a Junior Girls Athlete of the Year.
Yeah.
That how how like that's because imagine like here if we had somebody who did all that, he would be the center of the talk, like for like all country, and and even in school, like he would be like a lot. Like we have players here that play for the national team. They go to the national tournaments and stuff like that. And sometimes what happens most of the times is that they kind of like can't manage school. So how did you handle everything in school? Like friends, teammates, and of course grades, while being literally a beast, with all these accolades. Like that's literally what I was reading this and I was like, damn, what this girl, what the actual hell? Like you're a fucking beast, girl. I'm just saying,
Thank
I'm just
you.
saying.
Thank you, but, um, I think, like, something that was really important that my parents, like, instilled in me was, like, school always comes first.
Yeah.
Um, my dad played Division One, football, so, like, in the US, so I knew I wanted to do that as well. So he was kinda, like, always on me about your school is, like, most important because you can't really go anywhere without school, and at the end of the day, basketball does end, and you need to have school. So throughout high school, that was like a big thing for me, like always staying on top of my grades because I knew that without school I couldn't do what I wanted to do with basketball. And then I was lucky that like how things kind of work in Canada is like you have like your high school sports and stuff, but where you get seen and like where you go to university is like through rep, like playing outside of school. So I was like lucky enough to be able to play like multiple sports in high school. So I did like basketball, volleyball, and like track like pretty much every year. So like being active all the time and like being immersed in like those programs like allowed me to like make friends at school and stuff like that. But also like most of my best friends that I still have till this day are the girls that I made like became friends with in my rep teams
Yeah.
outside of basketball because like having to do everything in school and everything outside of school is such like a small like group of people who like actually do it. So having that network of people outside of school was like more of a support system and someone who like understood like there were so many more people that understood what you were doing in school because they were doing the same things at my like at their schools. So like all the little accolades that I have, like my friends were doing that in their cities and their schools and stuff. So um like we could all come together, support each other and stuff. So I think just like how to handle everything was just like having a really good support system, which I'm really thankful for through my family and the friends I made like through basketball, like having coaches that like guided me like through those times too, because you don't know everything. Like your parents don't know everything. Like my parents didn't play basketball. So I had like really good coaches, especially at the rep level that like helped me through like everything, maybe I'm like, hey, I'm really struggling in this class or whatever, and they could like give me advice on some of those things. Yeah, like high school wasn't like the most perfect time for me. Like high school is kind of a shit show for everybody, I feel like.
Yeah,
Um,
it's hard. Like,
it's really hard.
yeah, it
So
is.
like I feel like most of the people that I like still connect with are really through my basketball outside of school because I didn't go to like the most amazing like high school either. So I think just like separating myself from that as well too and like whatever was going on there like helped me like get through it and um like yeah, I don't know. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I don't know, like high school is
I
just
know.
like yeah,
I know
like
what
it's
you mean.
kind of
Like
like
it's like high school is high school, and the rest is what actually I think like means the most to you. You know,
yeah, like
you did what you had to do in high school because
because
let's face it.
I wanted to go to the next place, right? Like I stayed after school, I did the extra, like, I would volunteer and do anything I wanted, like, within the sports, like, community, like, would help hold the sticks for football, like, those kind of things, like, I was always involved, which, like, helped get through, like, the time in high school. You make friends through that, like, you make good connections, and then you have, like, people who support you, like, now when I substitute teach back home, I can go to my high school anytime and substitute teach because my teachers, like, I had a good relationship with them. So just kind of stuff like that.
So like, well, I know like high school is not. It's not a joke, you know, and that's why I asked, you know, because most of the times what happens with big athletes is that in school they kind of like get seen like in a bad way, like, oh, he thinks like he's the shit, so
Oh,
uh
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like, so who do you think you are? And for me it doesn't make sense, you know. I didn't have the accolades that you had, and I was still suffering that in high school. So imagine, I was just a little girl who used to go to Porto to train sometimes, and people like, she thinks she's a shit. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not, but you know, so
Like,
yeah.
that's the thing is, like, I think, like, that's just a part of high school is, like, sometimes people are mean and, like, people are figuring out who they are on their own level, so sometimes, like, putting other people down, like, helps them. I don't know, but, um, it definitely wasn't the easiest for me. Like, it wasn't. Like, I definitely struggled, with a lot of, like, dealing with that, but I just knew I wanted to be in other places that was outside of Kitchener, and now I am, so, like,
Yeah.
that's
Look at
kinda like you know
look
what
at
I
you
mean?
now,
Like,
you know?
it's like
Started from the bottom, now we're here. That's the thing, you know? Like, and that led you to literally, that's my next point, that led you to Mercer University, which is
mhm,
like NCAA, University. You were there for like what, 2 seasons, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken,
2.5.
from 18 to 2020.
Mhm.
And of course, there I have to ask you this, like the NCAA has like the biggest players and the best players that literally women's basketball
Yeah,
like has at the moment, and even when you were there,
yeah.
how was like playing alongside like the best athletes in the game? Like, was there any pressure, or you were just like, I know my place, I do my shit, and we're good?
No, I mean, like, there is definitely, like, a lot of pressure and, like, coming from kinda being, like, a starter and a captain and, like, you're kinda everything on your team and then going to a place where you're, like, starting completely
You're
new,
good. I feel it, girl. I feel you.
right? Like, you're starting completely new, completely fresh, and you have to buy into a new system with a new coach in a different country. It was definitely, like, a lot to adapt to, but I had 2 really, really great seniors who kinda took me under their wing, and um, they, like, helped me through, like, all of those, like, first year issues and jitters. Um, but honestly, like, I loved the basketball part of it, like, the stadiums, the travel, who we played, like, all of that stuff, the interviews, like, all that stuff to me was so much fun. Like, I that is, like, what I wanted out of, a university basketball experience, like, I couldn't have asked for anything else. So,
uh well, like, I was talking like, because after that you go to Waterloo University,
yeah.
University of Waterloo, and there is when you literally pick. For me, I think like is when you literally pick. I was searching, I think it was like between 2021 and 2024. You were there for 3 seasons,
Mhm.
and you hit 5 of your career highs, like wearing their colors, of course, in just one game. Literally in just one effing game. I have the date here. It's literally 24th of February of 2024, which literally it doesn't make it still hasn't make a year before. And how did you feel on that game? I think it was against Hutawa. I don't know how to say that
University
name.
of Ottawa, yeah, so that was
Ottawa.
actually my last game, ever as a Waterloo Warrior, which was, like, really tough. Um, I loved playing at Waterloo, like, that I would agree with you, kind of, like, allowed me to peak. I came from a coach where I was kind of fit to mold a box to playing for a coach who, like, really, really believed in me, and she was, like, extremely passionate, like, Jess Roke and Christine Hyde and, like, everybody on the staff. Um, they, like, really, really believed in me, and I'm so thankful for that because I don't think I would be I know for sure I wouldn't be playing in Portugal or looking at a professional career without them, supporting me and pushing me the way they did in my time at Waterloo.
Well, I have to make the next question. Mercer or Waterloo?
I I would choose Waterloo 10 times over.
You
Like,
would.
I here's my thing, the basketball side of things, the exposure and the money that they have in the US, if it was the exact same in Canada, if I had to choose, like, program for program, like, coach for coach, if the basketball was, like, that access was the same, um, it would be Waterloo, hands down, wouldn't even think twice. The only thing with the States that they have over Canada is the money that they have for their sports. So, and that access and everything. So coming from the States to Canada, it was like a big adjustment for me because I was like, oh, where is this? Or like, you know what I mean? Like we just had so much that you didn't even have to think for anything.
Exactly.
So but yeah, like in terms of like my emotional, mental, and also sports development as like a player and a person, I would choose Waterloo like 10
And
times.
I think it's like that's like where the happiness is. It's not just like, have exposure to play and to be like, oh, I'm here, but
Yeah.
to actually do play. I think your history here with like being on a NCAA team and then coming to Canada again. It's kind of like Inês Betancourt, which is a Portuguese girl who went to UConn to play. She
Mhm.
played alongside Paige and stuff like that, but she didn't have minutes, and
Yeah.
she changed to another university, and now she's one of the best that they have there. And I think it's kind of like the same, you went to some place that they let you grow up, and they let you, like, she has her things,
Yeah.
and they just, roughed the hedges, and they prepared you for whatever you wanted to be as a player. I
Yeah.
feel like when coaches put you in a box is when they end your career. Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just, you are made to do this, and I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
And you know that you're not, and then you feel like that they are, taking your value, what you feel like you are from you,
Yeah. Like what
and
you can
I
do.
feel like that's what most coaches do, especially on big teams. And then when you go down to a less known team, you feel that you can do whatever, even though you don't have what you used to have,
Yeah. Yeah.
um
'Cause
but
my biggest thing for leaving was not necessarily, like, the coaching aspect. Because like,
yeah,
I'm all good for having a hard coach and,
for me
like, being
too.
that I'm totally cool with that. It was just more or less, like, when you go to a different country, you wanna feel like your team is, like, your family, and I did not have that, in my 2nd year at Mercer, and that's what drove me to leave. Like, that's literally it, point blank. It's, like, that simple. Like, my 1st year, I loved it, even though I wasn't playing as much or really at all. I didn't care because I had that family aspect. We had, like, certain, like, respects for each other and stuff, and then my 2nd year, like, that was kinda lost when our seniors left, and I knew after COVID or, like, during COVID, I went back for half a year actually at Mercer, and I decided to be done right before we started playing again because I was like, yeah, nothing's changed because they're like, things are gonna change. And like nothing changed in our time away from each other. And so that's why I decided to come back to Waterloo because I was like, Jess Roke became the head coach. My two best friends from high school who I played with were on the team. There were a bunch of girls that I had already played with before on the team. And I was like, yeah, I just need like a family
Yeah.
like aspect to go home to. And plus my actual family lived in Kitchener, Waterloo at the same time, so my family could actually come see me play and stuff and not just like on TV. So
Yeah, it's a different feeling. I feel like it's a different feeling,
yeah.
and like we are actually going to talk about this in a couple of minutes. But I feel like you have a family right now, which is good, and I feel like you do. At least I see every time I see you play, I feel like you're happy
Yeah.
doing it. But we are going to talk about that because you're playing literally in my family right now.
Yes.
But I have another question for you because you talked about high school and you had big accolades in high school, and then you go to Waterloo, and you also have big accolades there, and you do one of the best performers that you did in university there. What's the biggest difference between high school and college basketball that you feel like there's, that you go and you're like, wait up, I need to rethink things, what's that big difference?
I think like the talent pool like starts to like become smaller. Like in high school, like I was explaining, the actual high schools aren't that great. Like you have like a couple rep kids, maybe one, maybe a few on each like high school team, and then we all create like little pools and play rep together, and then we play against each other and rep. But in university, I would think like the biggest difference is just like the level of commitment, because a lot of times people have to have jobs, you're in school, plus you're playing basketball. Like I worked like part-time-ish during school and we worked full-time every summer. Um, so just like having those extra pressures to like maybe financially support yourself, but also be like top and perform regardless of the stress of school, basketball, and work. I would think is like the biggest difference, like just trying to juggle everything. And even like from the States to Canada, like I didn't have to work. All I had to do was focus on basketball and pass my classes. That's it. Where there was a lot more things you had to think about when you're back in Canada playing and stuff. Hopefully that answers that. But
No, it answers. It
okay.
actually answers. Because what I actually like want to do with this is like see the difference between people when I ask them certain questions, and for us, like here in Portugal, like high school, it's not high school. It's like the same professional teams that we have
Yeah.
in right now, like
That's what
Andrea
I'm learning.
has the girls like that play in high school, they play with you, but they are playing, but they are still in high school, you know.
Yes,
You
I
have,
do
yeah,
have one of
you have
them.
like they have like the schools like tournaments, they go to nationals, and it's like scholar sports, you know, like stuff like that, you know, between schools, but it's not like as big as the NCAA. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Even in university, it has the CNUs, which is a little bit bigger, but it's
Mhm.
still, it's not like big. I think like the teams who have like the best teams, you know, like the universities, are the teams that have like one or two teams on their city, because they can actually join them in the university, you know. It's not like in America or Canada and stuff like that. So here it's not, there's no difference at all, because
Yeah,
you start playing at, imagine at Andrea, like that, where you are now, at age 5, and you hope to be playing with the seniors, and that they are still in Division 1 when you
yeah,
get the seniors, you know what I mean.
yeah,
um, because most of the girls in the beginning used to say, I want to go to Lisbon because I want to play in a team there, and now they're like, I want to stay in Everett, you know,
yeah.
which is actually good. And I think that's one of my questions, but it's following your stay in Andrea. But um your first, I wouldn't say experience, but your first professional, you know, contract was
Yeah,
supposed to be with Lombus.
yes.
I don't know if you want to talk about it, if you don't want to talk about it, because you got hurt,
Yeah,
uh, which is pretty fucked up.
I
Let's say it, because
yeah,
I get the struggle, I get the feeling,
yeah,
is it's hard.
it was really
And I don't know how many times, if you actually came, if you, how many times did you stay here, how many months, if you even like stay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So after that last game that you had brought up, in, like, February with, like, my old team in university, I basically, like, got a call from the lawn bowls coach, like, on a Tuesday, like, signed that Tuesday, was gone Thursday, like, practiced Friday morning, like, I took the red-eye flight and played Sunday. And then I played about, like, 6, 8 minutes, and I stepped on someone's foot, like, not even running or anything, and just shredded my ankle. Um, and I've never had ankle problems before. Um, I wonder if it was, like, the exhaustion or whatever, but
Probably. Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine now. It was just, like, a really unfortunate situation because I needed, like, 3 weeks to kinda, like, be better, and I didn't have 3 weeks because it was, like, at the end of season in playoff time. That's what they brought me for. They brought me for playoffs.
Yeah.
So, I ended up staying I think I stayed, like, 5, 6 weeks there, like, total.
You went on vacation.
Yeah, like, I the thing is I tried really, really hard to come back, and I think they saw that too, like, I was in the physio every day, I was trying to run, like, I was literally trying so hard to do whatever to come back, um, so, like, I credit that to, like, Joanna, who was, like, helping me through that whole process because like, it really sucks, it's so disappointing. I'm like, "Yeah, I finally got my first pro contract, boom." Like, it sucks. I was really extremely disappointed. Um, yeah, but, I mean, everything happens, like, for a reason and stuff, I guess, so that happened, I went home, trained all summer, and then now I'm here, so
You're here, and you are in the best place ever. I'm just saying. I'm not that one person who's gonna say I'm not biased. I'm biased all the way. Like that's it. But l- I was asking you something because I wanted to ask you about Lambush, but at the same time, it's like you weren't there for so long. But there's something I wanted to ask you, which is like, um, was there something that you were hoping to find in our league? Like I'm talking about big league, you know, in our league that you didn't find, or the other way around, that you were hoping to find, or like you didn't think there was, but you end up finding it, like I don't know, like you were hoping to be, you know, less physical, but it was actually physical, too much physical, you know, something like that, you know, that you were hoping to find or you didn't find, or the other way around.
Like, it's hard to speak on that because I didn't get to play, like, a lot,
Yeah, I know.
but for the time that I did play, I felt like it was physical. I felt like the competition was really good. Like, there's not really much like I can complain about. Like, if I got to experience like a full season or a little bit more time, I feel like I could touch on that more. But for the time that I did have and like what I would go watch, because I would still go. Like, I wanted
Yeah,
to
that's
still
why I
be.
asked you. I was like, I was hoping she was at least going to the games to see,
Yeah,
like,
so
that's why I asked.
I had the option to like stay home or whatever, but I wanted to come every time. Like, why would I not? So I would still come to the cup games and stuff, and like because they had a cup, I think they had a couple of cup games and playoffs and everything. Like, the atmosphere was crazy. Like, the fans are so fun. Like, just how you guys like rally behind sports here is just really really interesting and cool.
Yeah, and
So
it's not like the best sport like that we have. They don't consider like basketball like that much of a sport, which is changing. It's
yeah,
good. It's changing. It's good. I hope like next season we have at least 500 to 600 people in Alentejo supporting it, because those 15 people are their throats are getting sore. But even if it's 15 or 5, they're gonna be there like screaming their lungs. But I think like the people that are behind Lombus, they are like the most passionate people like
yeah,
that I ever saw. Like, I've been called names. I've been called no, for real though. I've been called names. I've been like literally, but it's not like, you don't feel like it's a mean thing. It feels like it's on the game, and then you get out and they be like, "Oh, you played really well," and then they're like, "But you just," and he was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Okay, just that. Okay, forget it. There's nothing to do, with the way they are. They just support so much, and I think it feels like there's the same between every single team. Even in Andre, that we are going to talk right now, you have like 3-4 people that if they open their mouths, they are probably going to get kicked out of the of the court, because they are so passionate about the club, not just about the sport, but about the club, that
yeah,
if they open their mouths, they're going to get kicked out.
yeah,
Listen, there was a couple of people, especially 2 women that were there. Like, I love them to death, which is Isabella and Anna. That if they start speaking, I was like, "You're gonna end up on the street, girl." Like, no, they are passionate. I love them. I love them to death. I love them to death for that, and I feel like it's one of the best things that we have here in Portugal is how passionate
yeah,
the I'm not saying fans, but like our family is.
yeah,
Because for me,
yeah,
it's like your fans and the people who go to cheer you on are mostly family of your friends, which are family. For me,
yeah,
it's all family.
100%.
But yeah, like we were touching, of course, about like you coming here and you didn't play like too much at Lombos, unfortunately,
Mhm.
but you are kicking some ass in André, which is amazing. I'm just gonna show to everybody right there. I'm Summer's biggest fan. I have her number right there. It's not because it's mine already first, but you know. And I wanted to talk to you about something because I think it's like one of the first things that we talked about, like me
Mhm.
and you, which was from guard to center. You
Yeah,
know, and moving from the team on the league or even on university, you were playing always as like a 2 or 3, sometimes a 4, you
yeah,
know,
and if it
and,
was
and then you come and you have to play, a different style, and even coming from, the biggest NCAAs and coming to the first division in Portugal, it's a big difference to their play. It's not the same thing.
Mhm.
And like I said, you were always being known as a guard. Let's face it, a guard. It's a
Yeah,
guard.
yeah.
It's a guard. Even though I know you did some work as a 4, it's mostly a 3-2
Yeah.
guard. Um, how is it right now playing mostly as a center?
It's definitely like, uh, how do I say this?
Because I feel you, girl. I was there.
Yeah, um, so when I was, like, recruited and stuff, I thought it'd be more like a 3-4. Like, I've kind of like you touched on, I've played mostly like a 2-3, and if I play a 4, it's like a stretch 4, which I don't mind playing 4, but I'm used to like a certain more like a stretch 4, not like a big back to basket 4. Where I've had to be more of like a bigger presence, being like the second tallest person in our team, which is also different for me. I'm normally not like that tall in comparison. Like on my Waterloo team, there was like 4 girls on my team last year who were like 6'2", or I don't know what that is in centimeters. How you guys?
It's probably almost 2 meters. Probably it's like
Probably,
195.
yeah, probably around there.
Yeah,
So
195. Because
they're
you're what 5'10",
I'm like 5'10",
which is
5'11".
like 185 centimeters. So it's probably like more 10 centimeters than you
Yeah.
are.
So I'm used to like having like tall bigs. So then to be like a big and have to like battle and rebound and do all that stuff, like love rebounding and stuff, but just like the physicality again, I was like, oof, I have to readjust to this because I was used to being a guard and just like being on the outside and doing all that stuff. And it's different. It is different, like
Yeah.
setting screens and doing all those things. Which like I tried to adjust as like quickly as possible to the role that Ruby asked me like to do, and like whatever he asks me to do is what I'm gonna do. He puts me in as a 4 or 5. I'm gonna do whatever he asks. He says go as a guard. I'm gonna do it. So I think like I'm lucky in that sense where I can be like versatile and play kind of like 2 through 5, like 5 on the small side.
Girl, I'm 5'7" and I was playing as a center. Do you wanna compare like small size? Like, don't go there. Please don't go there. I was playing as a center in Division 1. So if I can do it, you can do it. Like,
Fair,
and
that is fair.
you are doing a hell of a job. And I bring this up because that's the first thing I said to you. The first thing I remember saying is like, fucking God, you were playing amazing as a center. And it's true. Like you were going against one of the toughest centers of all time, which is Emilia. She's one of the best in Portugal, and for me, one of the best probably surrounding our country. And she is a beast.
Yeah,
And God, she has that body of that girl. Like that's literally. It looks like you were, or I feel like you are getting literally slammed by a truck. You know what I mean? Like she's really, really strong.
She's really
And
strong.
yeah,
Perfect body. Yeah.
literally. And you held like, let's face it, I'm gonna curse here. You held your shit together and you literally caused her to sit her ass down at least like 10 times. I was watching the game and I was like, hey, like, oh, Emilia got out, oh, she got in, oh, she got out, oh, she got in, and you were still there. And I know it's hard, like for you, like, and with Alyssa not coming, unfortunately, due to reasons of her own, you have to step into this new position. And I wanted to ask you, what's the biggest difficulties from playing this new position?
I think just like figuring out how to be myself within the system. Also, like the style of play is like quite different. Where like I find like the key is like always kind of packed and like just like the difference, I guess, in basketball IQ a little bit. So I'm trying to find like areas to go. It's like untraditional to like what I'm used to, like maybe back home or maybe in top league, for example. But yeah, so just trying to find like myself and like find like how to score within the systems that work best for our team. Because at the end of the day, like I want to do well, but I also want the team to do well. So it's not all just about like what I want. So I'm trying to figure out how to properly find my role within like the whole encompassing of like this team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I know how hard it is to play as a center, especially now. And I wanted to talk to you about it, like, because you are playing with literally the likes of Marcia and the renewing of Catarina and Fatumata, and literally you have 3 guards playing to play with literally 3 different styles of playing, and I guess it's hard because first you just came to this position literally this year,
Mhm.
and then second because you have 3 different guards playing with you, and And I wanted to know, like, how is the feeling of, like, having to switch every single moment. With Katarina, she's gonna do, you're gonna do, you're probably gonna set a screen, and then you're gonna roll, and then she probably gonna put the ball on you. And probably with Fatumata, you need to give her space because she's strong. And then with Marcia, you need to open up for probably a tree. I'm looking like I'm your coach because I watch your games all the time. So, but you need to do all that. How is it being like adjusting to it? Because you don't have just one guard, you have like three.
Yeah. I think like what's important with basketball is like being able to adapt. Like there's things that I like and they need to know what I like on the floor, and I need to know what they need and what they like as a big. So I think playing a post and a guard and having perspectives from both sides, like I know how to pass to certain people based on their skill set. Like I know bounce passes aren't like great for them, where receiving it high is maybe better, or screening a certain way for different guards, knowing this person likes to get downhill, so I can give her like an extra step so she can run her defense off of me, or this person likes it when I'm a little bit closer so they can create more space for themselves. Just kind of things like that. I think just being able to have this time to learn them and them learn me is like what's creating like a beautiful little mix that we got going on. So
I'm liking your answers, because I'm feeling like I'm listening to you. I'm like, yes, girl, that's it. That's it. No, that's it. That's it. We good. No, because that's the thing. That's something that I actually talk with Katarina a lot, which is, I know whatever she's gonna do, and she knew whatever I was going to do, and that comes with time. Of course, we played together for 5 years.
Yeah.
And we used to know everything about each other. And I'm not saying outside of court, I'm saying inside of the court.
Yeah.
I knew that if she did a little, I was okay. I need to go there right now because she's going to cross over somebody, and I need to make literally a bridge for her to pass, like something like that. But yeah, I feel like you gave me and you gave everyone that is going to watch this like the right answer. It's not like just a political answer, like literally the right answer, which is like what?
It's like the truth. Like that's literally how you have to like adjust to it. Like especially not they all know each other. Like I think Fatu and Marcy have played together. Like
yeah, they did.
Like they might not have all played together, but they all know each other. Where there's girls back home where maybe I haven't played with them, but we know each other. So if we do like end up kind of like being put on like a random team for something, for example, like Hoop Queens, we all kind of know how to like play with each other generally. And for us now, like we are getting a couple new bigs. So I'll be able to play a little bit more of a guard. So then it's kind of like, again, now we have to relearn 2 new bigs plus me not playing a big anymore as much. But
you're going to play as a big, right?
not as much.
No, girl, stop. Because if you were doing a bad job, okay, I would say, yeah, you're going to play as a guard, but you're not. So even if it's like a back down big, like if Nazarea gets her 5th fall, or whoever comes, if somebody comes, they are not doing so good, they are not adjusting, you're going to be their choice, which is good, which means that you are doing actually a good job. And I believe you're going to be probably a stretch 4, which is like, I think it's the most appropriate for the team right now, because like we have a lot of guards and good guards, and we are talking about having good guards and having to remodel the strategy. And I can actually ask you, like, what was your first impression, like of the team? Because you came to Portugal again, like you stayed here for 5 weeks, and then you come back and you go to D1, and then you go to this little place in Alentejo in the middle of Portugal that nobody knows. And you're like, oh, is there a first Division 1 team here? Like, what? And then how was your first impression of the team?
Like of like the place of ever, or just like the team,
everything. Place, team, everything you want to talk about. How was your first impression?
So I guess my first impression of like ever in general is like it's definitely smaller than like Carcavelos, like where I was before. It's a little bit more, like, isolated, but it has, like, a lot of character and, like, a lot of history behind, the city here, so that's been cool to kind of explore and find. Um, in terms of, like, the team and stuff, the team kind of just became, like, an instant family, like, that's, like, something really big that Rui, like, preaches on is family first, and that
Yes.
we're here together, we're gonna win together, we're gonna lose together, like, no matter what, we are doing this together, and that's something that I want in a team, especially because this is my first year fully overseas, fully away from home, kind of starting this pro journey. I think I'm spoiled a little bit because of how uh, family oriented and how like good like Rui and Luis like is to me. Like specific, I can only speak from my experience, but like how good they are to me, honestly. I have like Rui, who's like extremely like encouraging and stuff. And like Luis is like the my accountability person. He's definitely like Summer, you can do more, like do more. And like he's also very
He's not
encouraging.
afraid of telling you like that. That's
No,
what I
no,
love
not
about
at
movies.
all.
It's like, are you kidding with me? Is there any cameras here? Like,
But I appreciate that though.
me
Like
too. I
I
love him.
I love like the challenge and stuff too, and he's always challenging me, even though sometimes like his challenges feel like a little bit too large at times. But I'm like, you know what? If that's what you believe in me, then maybe I should like, you know what I mean? Just having someone who believes that you can keep doing more and you can keep doing more is like really nice. And so like that was kind of my first impression of I guess like the coaching staff and stuff. But the girls also like really inclusive. They're great. I have to have like a little translator so people so like the girls take turns like translating for me because sometimes in practice they forget.
That's
Um,
because I'm not there. That's because, like,
because
I
they're like,
was the translator.
yeah,
Me and
like
Sophia. Yeah.
like Marcia, Katarina, like Rita, like they always translate for me and stuff. So I really appreciate that. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what's
You
going
need
on.
to start learning some Portuguese, girl, because you're coming back next year.
I
So
know
yeah,
some. I'm getting there. There's sometimes where like the girls will go to translate and I'm like, "Oh, he said this." And they're like, oh, "Good job." And I'm like, "Yay, like I'm learning."
you need to go on Duolingo, something like that.
Yeah, something. I know my mom's been telling me too, but
No, for real though, because you never know. Like, it's the best way to actually, get to know actually the team more and more. Because most of the girls, even though they are really good, their English kind of like drifts apart. And I like we have a lot of funny stories with English and Katarina, which is like they asked her how old she was. She was like 21. She said she was 23. So because she thought he was 21 in English. But you know what I mean, like, but yeah, like I feel like you went for the best team right now, like,
yeah.
in terms of what you said. You've been saying all this interview that you love the family side, and this is like a family. For the moment that we decided to actually get people from America to the moment that we go to Division 1, we always been a family. We always went to Luisa's house after games to eat francesinha. We always went with Rui to whatever. Rui was always there when we needed something, and they are amazing people. And they always been, if there's something that nobody can point fingers at, is that
Mm,
this team is a family.
for sure.
That's never gonna change.
Yeah.
1 year they are better, 1 year it's worse, because basketball, it is what it is. You can be on top the whole day, and at the end of the day you can go down to bottom
Yeah.
four, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So it's basketball, and that's what I love about basketball.
Yeah.
But and we were talking about, you know uh, first, what you saw in the team and what was your first impressions. But we are literally mid-season,
Mhm.
and this is a question that I feel like you can answer or not,
Okay.
because it's not bad,
Okay.
but it's like, it might, say something that you probably can't say or something like that. But what are you well, it's not a bad question, don't worry. What are your expectations for the rest of the season? Is there some trick up your sleeve or something like that, for us to see? Or
Our, like, goal and, like, expectation is to be I like I think I'm still learning how all of this like works because it's a lot of like different phases and like
Mm,
cup this and like
right
things.
now you are in a normal phase.
Yeah, so our goal is to be top 4 of our phase. Obviously, our end of season goal is to be moving up to top league as it should be for most teams.
Yeah.
So I think just being our first step is getting to that top 4 and then moving on to that second stage from what I understand, and then kind of just adjusting from there. After that, I'm not really sure what happens. I just understand like this next part, and then after this part, I don't really know what happens.
It's
So
literally you go to the next part and then you play against the North teams,
yeah, I know that
and
part.
which is hard. Which
Yeah,
is hard. I'm
it's
just gonna say, girl, it's hard.
yeah.
Coimbras is really good right now. Braga is really good right now, but I feel like it's gonna be bangers, banger of games, like
Yeah.
which is gonna be amazing for the people who are watching. And after it is like if you are in the top, of your on the top 4, you go to it's like literally playoffs.
Okay.
So and then you go to the finals, and the two on the finals go to the
Yeah, they go up.
you
Yeah.
go up. So
So, like,
it's like
those 8, then they become, like, another 4, and then those
so it's
4.
literally 4. It's semifinals and then finals.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's literally that. Because you join like the 8 from the 4 from the south end and the
South
4
over
from
the
the north,
north.
and you only play against the north because you already played the south.
Yeah.
So with the games that you won and lose are
Those
already like
counted, yeah.
accountable, yeah, on that. So yeah, and then you play against the north teams, and then if you are in the top 4, you move to the semifinals,
Yeah,
which
so
is amazing. And if you guys do that, it's gonna be the first time. Even if you just go to the semifinals, it's gonna be amazing. It's like the first time that a team from Alentejo would do that. And I really do believe there's a chance. I believe that this year, and I said it like before. It's hard for you guys this year because of Sporting. From Coimbras is it's getting like from the north. Coimbras is getting on top of their game, and there's a lot of big teams this year. But I still do feel there's a chance, and I wish that you guys go and get the goal. Like for me, like the best thing that could happen, it would be you guys against Sporting in the finals,
yeah,
and you guys beat them. That would be amazing for you guys to beat Sporting and to win everything. But even if you go to semifinals or finals, I think it's a hell of an accomplishment for
yeah.
real.
I think
Um,
I
yeah,
think that we have a lot of things gonna be adjusting in the next couple weeks.
yeah.
We have our new player. She hasn't even been here for a full week yet. I believe we're getting one more girl, so, uh I think there's just gonna be, like, a lot of things that are unknown for us even in the moment because 'cause we've had just a core group up until January now. So now kind of having a complete we had, like, a puzzle, like, a pretty nice picture puzzle, but now it's gonna be completed with our last 2 pieces coming. So I'm even really excited just to see, like, where this goes and, like, how much our game may change just having just 2 different people, you know what I mean? So
But like I said, like I hope like that everything goes flawless because right now I feel like you're having a heck of a season. You especially, but I think like the team is having a heck of a season. There's a couple of losses that I was like, wait,
yeah.
okay, which of course we're talking about Fragudo, but because they were not as good as a team in the beginning of the season when you guys went for the tournament. And I feel like they also brought new people and that caught you guys off guard, and that's basketball. I fucking love it.
It's
Like
yeah.
I went there, they're like, they lost? Oh my God. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, as a commentator, then I was like, oh my God. Two different reactions, because it gives us things to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's really amazing for us who love to see you guys play and who love to, and I was at that side, of course. And if I was playing, I would have hated. But as a commentator, I was like, okay, there's something to talk about. We
Yeah.
have something to talk about. But yeah, like I still have 3 more questions for you,
Okay.
and it's like the final questions,
Okay, cool.
And then if you want to then say something or give a shout out, give the
Okay.
like your site, your websites, your Instagram, and everything, you can just shout it out.
Okay.
Um, And I think like the first question, like this is like easy peasy. What's harder, playing in Canada or in Portugal?
Um, I would say like in Portugal because I don't know what's happening like 90% of the time. Like I understand like the basketball side of things, but when people are talking or like say the game stops and like the refs and like everyone's like going back and forth, I'm just sat there like sometimes
So
I'm just like
you didn't understand shit what happened this weekend then? When,
no
when
until
the
unless
ref started giving text after text.
I'm like
Girls,
what
I mean, I
happened?
speak Portuguese, so we good.
I'm like, what happened? Like, yeah. In that aspect, I think it's harder being able to communicate with like refs and like also know like what other people are saying. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I wish I knew that aspect. It's like really physical here. I don't know if like CN1 is different than Top League because I didn't get to experience Top League the same amount as I did
It's
CN1,
different.
but it is like very extremely aggressive and you kind of have to just play through anything. Like,
Girl, and you haven't played against the North teams. They are way worse.
yeah, so you kind of have to just play through anything. So, and I
Yeah.
thought like Canada is more aggressive and physical than the States because they have different rules
Yeah.
in terms of like touch and stuff. So going from the States to Canada, I was like, ooh, this is an adjustment. And then going from Canada to here, I was like, geez. But it's good. I've like kind of figured it out more now. But I would just say, like, I would say the skill level in Canada, there's like, I don't know, it's hard because the top it's different. Like speaking from CN1, like eh, top league is probably more comparable and probably a little bit better than the university in Canada, but we don't really have like a pro league in Canada. Well, the WNBA is coming to Toronto in 2026, but after that, like we don't really have anything else. So just I guess like that's like my best answer. I'm not really sure.
So you're saying like physicality, Portugal is harder, like, and
Yeah.
in terms of like the the handles of basketball, Canada is better.
I would say like
I know.
sometimes like the basketball IQ a little bit just because of like the exposure and stuff. I think people go to more camps. They get to be coached by different people. Like you're not in like one club for a long time. Where I find like here people are like very like loyal to their clubs like all the way up. So you might not get different exposure and stuff. So I think it's important to have that or play different sports and stuff. Where I feel like in Canada you're playing different sports. You're having different exposures from different people. So you're able to accumulate more of like a diverse IQ in terms of basketball. Where I feel like there's some people here who have like extremely high basketball IQ, and then it's like it just varies depending on like their experiences. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, and this is like a government issue. It's not even like because we don't have money for sports. Like
Yeah.
we have football or soccer, whatever you want to
Mhm.
call it, and then that's it. That's it. If you play soccer, you can go whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you play basketball or volleyball, sit down, and I think that when we started kind of like screaming, for our space, especially like Andre and Alentejo, it kind of like got mixed reactions. As I feel like Luis always says this is like, if you win the national championship, if you lose the national championship, nobody in the middle of the city is gonna know, and if you win, nobody's gonna know.
Yeah.
So, and it's a small city, you know what I mean? You know what? That's what it means. It's like nobody cares. So do your best, and that's it. And that's the mentality that we have in sports in Portugal, and
Yeah.
that's not gonna change. Like for at least another, unfortunately, 10 years. We
Yeah.
need new people in front, and that's a all other issue. But like we can talk about it after. But it's a different issue. Like, and it kind of hurts, the kids right now. But I'm just saying, get ready because our kids right now are hitting threes from the normal court.
Love it.
Like 10-year-olds hitting 3-pointers better than I do, and I'm like. And they're like, "You played D1?" And I'm like, "Oh, you little bitch! What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I
Yeah.
was a center. We're that high. And I was like, "Oh my,
You're like,
come here."
oh.
come here, let me smack, let me smack you. But yeah, like no, it's getting way better, which is amazing. And
Yeah.
I think in a couple of years, it's gonna change the basketball scene. It's gonna change, especially women's basketball, because with the help, and this is really what happened with Paige and Caitlin and Sabrina. It kind of like gave these kids new perspective on women's basketball, and most of my teammates from here were wearing Sabrinas, and I was like, okay, we
Yeah.
good. I'm not gonna be left out on the team. I'm going to buy one.
Like,
Do
yeah.
but at the same time, they are really good actually. But
Yeah.
the kids are loving it, and most of the kids were wearing Sabrina's and were wearing Caitlin Clark's shirts, and I was like, wait, she's
Yeah.
from college, like she was not even in the WNBA at the time, and I was like, okay, girl, you do you, and it's amazing because the little girls right now are getting better and better. And they're
That's
like, I want to play in the league, and I'm like, yes, girl.
yeah.
Because when I was their age, I was like, someday I want to be a D1 player,
Yeah.
and I got it, which is amazing at 20 fucking 5, but I did it.
Yeah.
But like but it's way better than they are reaching for new heights. So
Yeah.
we did.
And that exposure through just like how much we're pushing women's basketball and women's sports and social media is like really important. Like faces like Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, like Cameron Brink, like all these people that are bringing women's sports like the forefront is like what is allowing like those, like you said, those younger girls to like have bigger dreams than just here.
Yeah, which is amazing. Like I just got chills. But yeah, like we were talking, about being professional, and the little girls, saying that they want to be professional. Actually, that's one of my questions. Did you have any doubts about going professional?
Honestly, I never thought that this could happen for me. I like had a little scrapbook in elementary school. My mom gave it to me like recently because they're moving houses, but I had like said that I wanted to go play Division 1 basketball and then become a nurse. And like to think like my biggest goal for basketball was just Division 1, which like I accomplished that and I feel like great about that. I honestly, growing up, I never thought that this was like possible for me, or this space was even accessible. So I'm like really glad now that I'm in a place where there's tons of girls my age and from Canada that are playing overseas right now. Like there's like a little community of us. We all like check up on each other and yeah, like we're all different places all over the country and stuff, or all over just being overseas in general. But yeah, like we all kind of check up on each other. But I never thought it wasn't a dream because I didn't even know that this was possible. So it's like something new that like thankfully happened because I wasn't ready to be done yet. So
Thank God. Like I know what you mean. No, I know what you mean. Like I got hurt and then I thought I was over, but I wasn't ready. And when I got to Everton, Katarina was like, "Oh, I heard you played basketball." And I was like, "Yeah, but I got hurt recently, like 4 years before that." And she's like, "Oh, do you want to come and play for the university team?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, but I don't. I haven't played in like 5 years.
yes,
I was
sir.
so rusty. I couldn't hit a ball, like girl, for real." And then like the next year we were hoping opening the senior team on André Rezende, like, and 4 years after or 3 years after, Division 1, and I feel like, I never thought I was going to be, and for me, like playing Division 1, it's not being professional for me because I don't get paid, of course, but it was a dream because for what I gave to basketball for 20 years.
For sure.
And even Katarina, and I talk a lot about her because I feel like she's one of the most deserving people in the world to be in the position that she's in right now, because she works so damn hard for what she gets and for what we have right now in Andre. It's
Mhm.
thankful. It's literally because of her,
Yeah.
and we did it because of her because we saw how much she was giving to us, and we gave back. And like I never thought like that I could become a Division 1 player. So I get what you're saying when you think, oh, I played in university, and but there's so many girls. Why me? That's the thing. Why me? But then, girl, let's face it, you're a beast. So why wouldn't be you? So I don't know what you're saying at the same time. Like, why wouldn't be you? Like, that's the thing, girl. Like, no,
Yeah.
you played your ass off as a kid, as an high schooler, as a college player, of course you had to come to play overseas. If it wasn't in Portugal, it would be anyone else. And we're thankful that it's in Portugal and it is playing for our Netherlands. Like I said, I'm biased as well. But and we were talking about this, like about dreams and everything. And I think I'm gonna let you finish this with an advice. Like, if you had one advice to give to younger girls that were thinking of playing overseas, what would it be?
I guess my advice would be is that like there's way more opportunities than you think there are, and to like really just believe in yourself. Like I know that's pretty general, but at the end of the day, with coming overseas, you have like this family and stuff with your team, but that maybe that's not always the case. So at the end of the day, you kind of always have to have yourself. You always have to believe in yourself because you're here for a reason, like you said. And just believe in your training, believe that you're doing things for like a greater outcome. You're doing things for things you didn't even know. Like all the training and the time that I put in, I didn't think it would lead me to this. And I'm so thankful that I believed in myself. My parents believed in me. I had a great support system that allowed me to be able to be in a place here where I'm like, okay, I can do this. Like I have to tell myself every game, like, you can do this, you're good. Like, this is why you're here. So I think just having that belief system from a young age is like really important. Like be humble, like don't like be too crazy about it. But at the end of the day, just like believe like there's a reason why you are doing these things. There's a reason why you are here. And like now that there is a space where overseas or playing basketball overseas is such a prevalent, there's becoming more prevalent for girls. There's just way more opportunities. So like be open to them. You know what I mean? So
Preach. That's it, girl. Nah, that was amazing. Shout out to you and everything you do, of course. Like that, you're amazing. I've been saying all this interview, but you are amazing as a player and as a person. For what I've been seeing and what I've been looking at and following your journey throughout this year, and of course talking with your teammates, and they always like preach about you and talk good things about you, which I think is amazing. You remind me a lot. You remind me a lot of Alyssa. I told Alyssa a lot of times, like she's exactly like you, but she speaks English and you don't. Not a single bit. But yeah, you know, like I think you are a perfect fit for this team, for Anderlecht, and of course I couldn't do this with anyone else. Like I couldn't just like start this new journey with anyone else than from somebody who experienced the same things that I experienced, on a team that gives opportunities after opportunities to everyone. And I don't know if you want to like shout out yourself, to follow you on your socials, and to, I don't know, talk about your site, because I know you have one and that you do some incredible stuff like there. So if you want to shout out, this is your moment.
well, I just wanted to say like thank you for having me and like doing this, because again, like exposure for women's basketball is like really, really important. So like I'm interested to see like everybody else you have coming on after. So like thank you again for like doing this and creating a space for female athletes. Or I don't know if you're gonna have men on here as well,
I'm
but
gonna have everyone. That's it. Like
more the
I'm gonna have
merrier.
everyone here, just as long they are, you know, not in their, you know, national place, you know, playing. You know, this is like it's like traveling hoopers. It says on the name. It's like
Amazing.
if you're not on your country, like you are more than welcome to talk here.
But yeah, so at least just creating a space for us as foreign players to talk about our experiences, because it is like different for everybody. It is like a unique thing. Even if you come from the same country, everyone's experience, like you said, is going to be extremely different. So thank you for having me to come on and talk. I really appreciate it. It was super fun. And yeah, I guess my social media is summerpahl157 if you want to follow. But otherwise, follow our journey at Andrea Rosen. But yeah.
So I'm gonna just give them a quick goodbye in Portuguese.
Okay.
And I will talk to you soon. Maltinha, este foi o primeiro episódio do Traveling Hoopers. Eu espero que tenham gostado. Eu sei que não é a mesma coisa que é com o Zé, eu aqui comporto-me bem, para já. Mas eu espero que vocês nos possam acompanhar, ou me possam acompanhar nesta nova jornada da minha vida, que vai ser a entrevistar gente que está a jogar em Portugal, mas que não é português, obviamente, para termos outras noções e vermos o que é o basquete e o que é a nossa liga fora dos olhos de nós portugueses. Espero que tenham gostado e espero ver-vos no próximo episódio. Por isso, um beijo e um queijo.
We got it next. That's how you finesse. We come for they next. We come to collect. Did it all on my own.